Have you heard about HBO's latest television adaptation, The Last of Us? Are you excited to watch it? Have you played the game? Well, we're here to tell you all about it because it's just wrapped up. You need to know why we're excited. Keep watching to learn more about this show and everything that it's about. Alright, The Last of Us was originally a video game for the PlayStation 4 by Naughty Dog. It has been 7 years, but someone has finally been able to get a show up on the go for this sneaky and scary survival game. There were plans to make The Last of Us into a movie, but there were 5 plans that never worked out. But fans are delighted to find out that the show is very much on its way. The game. So if you haven't played the game before, then let's tell you a bit about it. A tough guy named Joel Miller is hired to escort a teenager named Ellie through the wasteland. Some doctors think that Ellie may be the cure to the plague, so she's a pretty important person. As they make their way from what used to be Boston to what is left of Salt Lake City, they have to face the usual post-apocalyptic tropes. You know, things like infected groups, a couple of cannibals, some jerks, and a giraffe that escaped the zoo is trying to live its best life. You know, the normal things. The show is supposed to follow the first game, but there might be a bit in there from the second game. The sequel, The Last of Us Part 2, is set 5 years after the first game. However, some speculate that they'll probably put bits and pieces from the other game, The Last of Us Left Behind, into the show because this game is an Ellie-centric prequel that's probably going to fit better with the show than something set 5 years into the future. Don't ask me though, because I've never produced a show. For all of you people that have played the game, you're going to be interested in this next thing we have to say. This series is expected to expand on the game's story and might include some elements that were previously cut from the game. That's right, things that were left out of the game might be in the show. In an interview with the BBC Sounds, Craig Mazin said, Neil, at one point he was like, you know, there's one thing we were talking about for a while, and then he told me what it was, and I was like, gonk. Okay, that's going in. We have to do that. Mazin went further and said, so the changes that we're making are designed to fill things out and expand, not to undo, but rather to enhance. It's not like we just decided, well, wouldn't it be cool if there's one episode where Joel and Ellie get on motorcycles and confront a motorcycle gang? There's no episodic nonsense here. The things that are new and enhancing of the storyline that we're doing are connected in organic, serious ways that I think fans of the game and newcomers alike will appreciate. Whoa, that sounds pretty good to me. We have 2 people who know this game very well, so for them to bring that knowledge to the show will be integral because they'll be able to keep it consistent. The worst thing is when there's a live action show or movie of anything and it just has random tropes thrown in and doesn't follow the original creation. Sounds like these 2 really care about the series. You ever seen any live action movies or shows on video games? Did you like them? Were they bad? Let us know. Producers. The upcoming drama series will be executive produced by people who have immense talent and minds behind the video game franchise. Craig Mazin, who worked on Chernobyl, and Carolyn Strauss, who worked on Chernobyl and Game of Thrones, will be executive producers alongside Neil Druckmann, who worked on The Last of Us video game and Uncharted. Evan Wells, who is a part of Naughty Dog and Acid Kulbalash, and Carter Swan from PlayStation will also be a part of this project. Evan Wells, who is the CEO of Naughty Dog, is also an executive producer of the show. The show will also feature music by Gustavo Santaolalla, who's done the score for more of the games, as well as TV shows like Jane the Virgin and Making a Murderer. So they'll have music coming from a professional who knows exactly what kind of ambiance to set for each scene. He only knows this because of this experience with the game, so I think the music will be pretty on point. How important do you think the music is to a show? Can it make it or break it for you? Casting. As for casting, Bella Ramsey will be Ellie in the show, who is one of the 2 main characters in the video game. Ramsey has previously starred as Lyanna Mormont in Game of Thrones. Pedro Pascal, who was in The Mandalorian and Wonder Woman 1984, will be Joel in the show. Then you have Merle Dandridge, who will be Parlene, like she did in the first game. They've also just announced Anna Torv to the casting. She'll be playing smuggler Tess, who joins Joel to get Ellie to the Fireflies. It's good to have some people who are knowledgeable about video games a part of the cast, don't you think? Do you know which video game Pedro Pascal voiced in? Leave a comment below and let us know. Mazin discussed his work and the challenges that they faced turning this video game into an HBO series with IndieWire in August. Mazin spoke about how HBO's willingness to turn the game into a show may be a new shift in Hollywood and that more big names will look at video game adaptations. I mean, I'd say that's a smart move because the video game industry is massive and there are some great games with stories out there. Is there a particular video game you'd like to see on your TV screen? I know we've had some tries in the past and they haven't gone down too well, but this one could be different. I think people have learned from others' mistakes. Or do you know of a video game adaptation that did well? Why do you think it did well? Mazin said, I don't think the folks at HBO were necessarily plugged into the game world, but it would only take them 20 minutes on Google to realize that The Last of Us is the Lawrence of Arabia video game narratives. Just dint of the fact that they said yes, you get a feeling that this is going to be different. Well, Mazin, we surely hope so, because with a video game adaptation, you have a lot to think about and really need to convey the message from the game into the show. Mazin and Druckmann wrote this series, and its co-production with Sony Picture Television. The executive vice president of HBO programming said this is a statement on November 20th, 2020. Craig and Neil are visionaries in a league of their own. With them at the helm alongside the incomparable Carolyn Strauss, this series is sure to resonate with both diehard fans of The Last of Us games and newcomers to this genre-defining saga. We're delighted to partner with Naughty Dog, Word Games, Sony, and PlayStation to adapt this epic, powerfully immersive story. With such praise and trust in this project, you know it's going to be amazing. HBO's known for their amazing shows. The time and effort they put into their work is always well received, except for the last season of Game of Thrones, but we don't talk about that. HBO's synopsis for the upcoming series reads, 20 years after modern civilization has been destroyed, Joel, a hardened survivor, is hired to smuggle Ellie, a 14-year-old girl, out of an oppressive quarantine zone. What starts as a small job soon becomes a brutal, heartbreaking journey as they both must traverse across the US and depend on each other for survival. So it looks like they're creating a show pretty close to the game. That's a good sign for fans. When will it be out? Just like everything else on TV, The Last of Us has been impacted by the recent pandemic. Unlike other productions who were already filming and then needed to stop, Mazin and Druckmann have only just moved onto the writing stage. An Instagram post from Gabriel Luna in early July of 2021, people now know that the series began filming as originally planned. It's supposed to be finished in June 2022, which means we won't see the series before late 2022, or else they're filming 2 seasons at once and they can drop the first season sooner? Hey, you never know. Crazier things have happened over the past year, so we can hope for the best. Well, that's it for everyone. How are you feeling about this new show? Are you excited? The Last of Us has a great team around it and some die-hard game fans, so I'm sure there'll be a lot of people watching it. Hopefully it'll deliver. Let us know down below what you think will happen.